The lake was dead silent. Not a ripple, not a whisper. Karen's shadow lingered at the edge of my mind, but I refused to turn around. I stared at the water, waiting, watching her retreat. I knew she wasn't finished. She never was. But I had already won a battle, and I was ready for the war. Suddenly, a faint sound broke the quiet. Soft footsteps, muffled and cautious. I didn't need to look. I knew who it was. Karen. She was trying to come back. Maybe to see if I was still watching. Maybe to test if I'd forgotten what she did. I clenched my fists. "You're wasting your time," I said aloud, voice steady but low. "This land is mine now, and I'm not backing down." But then, a flicker of movement caught my eye, something in the water. I squinted. A ripple, growing wider. Not just the wind. Something was coming. Something big. The water shuddered, and the surface suddenly erupted. From the depths, a dark, massive shape surged upward, twice the size of anything I'd ever seen. It was like a shadow from the bottom of the world, with glowing eyes that pierced through the night. I didn't have time to react. The thing lunged forward, splashing out of the lake with a deafening roar. It was no creature, no animal. It was the guardian I'd uncovered, alive, furious, and now fully awakened. Karen gasped behind me, her face drained of color. "What is that?" she stammered. I didn't answer. I just stared at the beast. Because I knew this wasn't just some guardian. It was the land itself, angry and alive, defending what had been buried for centuries. The creature's enormous form twisted and roared again, sending waves crashing against the shore. It looked right at me, those glowing eyes blazing with 1,000 secrets. I felt a cold sweat break out. Then it spoke, not with words, but with a voice that rumbled like thunder. "You woke what was meant to sleep. Now you will pay the price." Karen took a step back, her mouth open in shock. "You knew this was here?" I nodded slowly. "This lake isn't just water. It's a vault, and I've just opened the door." The beast moved closer, looming over the remnants of my old dock. I reached into my pocket. Inside, I had something my grandfather gave me, an ancient carved talisman. I pulled it out and held it high. The moment I did, the creature hesitated. The glow in its eyes flickered. It was recognizing the relic, my only hope of control. Blue, light spilled from the symbols etched onto the stone. A deep, booming voice echoed from the depths, an ancient voice that seemed to come from the very earth. "You dare disturb the sacred? This is your warning. Leave now or be consumed." Karen's face twisted with fear. She tried to scream, but the sound was lost in the gale of wind and water. The beast roared again, then sank back into the lake, vanishing beneath the rippling surface as if it had never been there. Silence returned. The water was calm again, but I knew better. I knew this wasn't the end. The land was alive, and it had just sent a message. Karen stared at me, trembling. What was that?" I looked at her, eyes cold but steady. "That's what's been buried here. That's the real reason they wanted to burn it down, because some secrets are meant to stay hidden. And now I've seen what waits in the depths." She backed away slowly, her face a mask of shock and regret. You knew, all along." "Not everything," I said softly. "But enough. Enough to know I can't let them take this place, not without a fight." As she disappeared into the shadows, I looked out over the lake. The moon cast silver reflections on the water. The guardian had spoken, and it had warned me. This was only the beginning. I took a deep breath. Whatever had been buried beneath the lake was awake now, and I was the only one left standing between it and the world. Tomorrow I'd go back to the court. I'd show them the truth about the fire, about the land, about what they'd unleashed. And this time, I wouldn't just fight for my property. I'd fight for the very soul of the lake, because some secrets once disturbed refused to sleep again. and I had a feeling I was about to learn exactly how deep the roots ran. Would you like me to continue with the next chapter? Absolutely. Here's the second chapter, beginning immediately from the ending of the previous chapter, with no slow buildup, just pure action, suspense, dialogue, twists, and powerful moments in simple, engaging language. The Guardian sank beneath the water with a deafening splash, leaving only ripples in the dark lake. I stood frozen, heart pounding in my chest, trying to process what I'd just seen. Karen was already backing away, eyes wide with terror. "Did you see that?" she whispered, voice trembling. I nodded slowly, gripping the talisman tighter. "That's what's been buried here. That's the real secret of this lake." Suddenly the water churned again. The surface rippled violently like something huge was circling beneath. I instinctively reached for my phone, but it was too late. The lake exploded, this time with more force, sending a wave crashing toward the shore. "Get back!" I shouted, pushing Karen behind me. From the depths, a massive, shadowy form shot upward, twice as big as anything I'd seen. Its glowing eyes burned through the darkness, and its roar shook the air. It wasn't just a guardian. It was a living, breathing force of nature, angry, awake, and furious. The creature towered over me, dripping water, muscles rippling with raw power. I could see ancient scars on its body, like it had fought for centuries. "To stay buried. Stay away from the water," I yelled, my voice almost drowned by the deafening noise. The beast lunged again, splashing me with cold water. Its roar echoed across the lake, a warning, a threat. I realized this wasn't just some myth or legend. It was real and it was alive. Karen screamed and ran back toward the woods, but I stayed rooted, staring into those glowing eyes. I knew I had only seconds before it decided whether I was friend or foe. Then, I remembered the talisman. I lifted it high, shouting, "I've got the power, leave us alone!" Blue light erupted from the carved symbols, illuminating the beast's massive face. It hesitated, confusion flickering in its glowing eyes. A deep, rumbling voice boomed from the lake, an high, ancient voice older than time. "Disturb us again and you will regret it." The creature backed away, sinking into the water as suddenly as it had come. The lake grew eerily still, the only sound my ragged breathing. I lowered the talisman, trembling. The water settled, but I knew this was no ordinary guardian. It was a warning. The land beneath the lake had spoken, and now I understood. Karen caught her breath behind me. "What was that? Are you telling me that thing is real?" I turned slowly, eyes dark with resolve. "It's been here longer than us. It's the reason I never believed the fire was accidental. Someone or something wanted to hide this." Her face twisted with fear. "You mean all this time there's been a monster in the lake?" I nodded, and I woke it up. "I don't think it's done yet." She took a step back, voice trembling. "What do we do now?" "Now." I stared into the black water, voice low and firm. "We protect what's ours, because if they come back, I'll be ready. And next time I won't just have a talisman. I'll have the truth." The night stretched on in tense silence, but I knew this was only the beginning. Whatever had been buried beneath the lake was angry, and it wasn't finished with us. And I had just earned its wrath. Absolutely. Here's the third chapter, continuing directly from the climax of the previous scene, packed with suspense, dialogue, twists and powerful moments, all in simple, engaging language. No boring beginnings, just pure action and tension. The creature sank beneath the water, returning to its dark, ancient lair. I stared at the lake, chest heaving, trying to catch my breath. Karen was already stumbling back, eyes wide with fear. "Did you see that?" she whispered, voice trembling. I nodded slowly, clutching the talisman tighter. That's what's buried here. That's the true secret of this lake. Suddenly, the water roiled again. A fierce, violent ripple spread across the surface like a warning. I grabbed my phone, but I knew it was too late. The lake exploded, this time with even more force, sending a wave crashing toward us. "Get back," I shouted, pushing Karen behind me. From the depths, a colossal shadow burst upward, twice as massive as the last. Its glowing eyes cut through the night, burning with rage. It roared so loud it felt like the earth itself was trembling. The beast loomed over me, dripping water, muscles rippling with fury. Its body was scarred, old wounds telling stories of countless battles, centuries of hiding beneath the lake's surface, waiting. "Stay away from the water!" I yelled, my voice barely audible over the din. The creature lunged again, splashing icy water over us. Its roar echoed across the lake, a primal warning. I realized this wasn't just some myth, it was real. And it was alive, and now it was mad. Karen screamed and bolted toward the woods, but I stood firm, staring into those glowing eyes. I knew I only had seconds before it decided whether I was friend or foe. Then I remembered the talisman. I raised it high, shouting, "I've got the power, leave us alone!" Blue light erupted from the symbols carved into the stone, illuminating the beast's huge face. It hesitated, confusion flickering in its fiery eyes. A deep, rumbling voice boomed from the lake, an ancient voice, old as time itself. "Disturby. Us again, and you will regret it." The creature backed down, sinking beneath the water with a deafening splash. Silence fell over the lake, heavy and tense. Only my ragged breathing broke the stillness. I lowered the talisman, trembling. The water was calm again, but I knew this was only a warning. The land beneath the lake had spoken, and I understood now what we were dealing with. Karen was gasping behind me, her face pale. What was that? You're telling me there's a monster in the lake?" I turned slowly, eyes dark with resolve. Not just a monster. Something older than us. Something someone tried to hide. Her voice shook. "You mean, all this time, there's been a creature in the water, and you woke it up?" I nodded. "And I think I've only just begun to wake it up. That thing isn't finished, it's angry and it's waiting." She took a shaky step back. "So what do we do now?" I looked into the black water, voice low but steady. "We prepare. Because if they come back, I'll be ready. And next time, I won't just have a talisman. I'll have the truth." The night stretched, long, thick with silence and fear. I knew this wasn't over. Whatever was buried beneath the lake was awake now, and it was furious. And I was the only one standing between it and what was left of the world. The real fight was just beginning.